So life insurance is one of those things that nobody really likes to talk about, but it does serve an important purpose. So it's worth discussing. It's also one of those areas of financial planning that can get unnecessarily complicated very quickly. So today I simply want to break down how much life insurance do you actually need. The whole point of this is to figure out upon your death, how much would you need to provide for your family or any other goals that you have in place? Like what is that dollar amount? So let's break that down in a little more detail. One that is very common is funeral expenses. Typically, the family would have to pay for this, but you may want to build this into the amount of coverage on your life. Funeral expenses range, but it could be between $5,000 and $15,000. You can go to online and find some websites that'll give you a pretty decent estimate. Another thing that you may want to consider is your debts. So student loans, auto loans, mortgage. Not all of your debts are forgiven upon your passing. Depends on the situation and the type of debt, but your family may be ultimately responsible for paying that. So this may be something that you want to factor in to your total needs as well. Another very important consideration is your family's income needs. How much money will they actually need to live on each year for basic living expenses? So this could be housing if the mortgage isn't paid off, utilities, groceries, toiletries. All these things that your salary or your income was previously covering. How much of that will your family need moving forward? College funding is another important consideration. Do you want some of your life insurance proceeds to cover college for your kids? We all know that college is expensive. It's not getting any cheaper. And there are websites that can give you some direction on what you could expect college to be by the time your kids get to that age. But that's something to consider as well. And if you have younger children and your spouse plans to go back to work after your passing, you may need to factor in the cost of childcare. And this is going to all depend on the level of care they need and the amount of time they need cared for. But this could also remove a huge financial burden from the spouse if they plan to go back to work. And then there may be other goals or provisions that you want for your family. So maybe you want to provide your kids with a little nest egg to start a business or put a down payment on a home. Or maybe you want to provide some funds for your aging parents or for your siblings, or maybe a little cushion for your spouse. These are all things to consider and should be factored in when determining your total needs. So the present value of the sum of all those things is your total needs. But some of those needs may already be met through other measures, like other life insurance policies or anticipated income from the surviving spouse, or savings stored away, whether that be through a retirement account or an investment account, maybe income through Social Security or pension. These are all going to reduce the amount of life insurance that you need since some of those needs are already going to be covered. So take the total needs that we calculated in step 1 and subtract the needs that will already be met through other measures, and the net is your life insurance surplus or shortage. So that's a great place to start for evaluating how much life insurance you might need. Keep in mind that if somebody comes to you and they don't know anything about your lifestyle or your family or your goals, your income, expenses, and assets, and all the things that we just talked about, they can't know how much life insurance to recommend for you. So take the time to carefully evaluate each of these things. I'm going to post a calculator in the description or the comment below so you can play around, and that should give you a pretty good idea. I have a spreadsheet that I created that I use for my clients. If you're interested in seeing that, I'm happy to share it. You can email me at andy@luminarywealth.com. Hope this was helpful. Have a great week.